Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show, guys. This is breaking news. I love it because I love putting America first, but I also love making sure our seniors are taken care of. So we already know that Donald Trump is working on ending taxes on Social Security. But today, Elon came out and said that Social Security increases are very likely with all the DOGE savings that have been found, guys. This article, which came out today, is even better. Elon Musk issues update on Social Security increase, guys. This is from Newsweek. This is huge. Increasingly optimistic. What's even better, guys, is when you look at his post right here. We are increasingly optimistic that as the immense waste and fraud are eliminated from Social Security and medical, there's potential to increase actual dollars received by citizens and better health care. You can't get better than this, guys. Both people wanting to take care of Americans, not only with ending the taxes, but also with giving them an increase. And we did the math. We get that Social Security recipients could see a $200 increase per month based upon the savings they're finding. It was so insane today, guys. The amount of fraud is so real that today DOGE discovered a Louisiana man with 34 different names, addresses, and Social Security numbers. He was literally collecting $1,168,646 off of Social Security per year. And they don't want to say there's no fraud. Guys, there's a ton of it. The evidence is coming out, and I love it. On top of that, guys, I hope you're sitting down. James Comer told Breitbart the DOJ, the FBI, the IRS, and the SEC were all investigating Joe and Hunter Biden, but then they were told to stand down. Jim Biden was being investigated by Medicare for fraud. 6 banks reported to the Treasury Department the Bidens were committing financial crimes, but everyone was told to stand down. Like, all this stuff is coming out. On top of that, tax filings expose that one of Biden's cancer charities spent millions on salaries, but nothing on research. This is all fraud, waste, and abuse, guys, that these politicians are now being found out. Why do you think that Biden gave everybody the pardons? On top of that, Elon Musk saw this and said it's 100% treason. And now the Democrats that are going to quit the federal government because they said they won't follow Trump are trying to sabotage their departments by leaking documents. And all this is under investigation right now. And just want to say, guys, so much breaking news. I love it. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, to all of our subscribers, to all of our viewers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we really appreciate your support so much. Thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join us. And also the link to follow us and go subscribe to our new channel that we we just started, that's going to focus more on short form content, guys. We're so excited for everybody that has already subscribed. And if you don't mind subscribing, guys, want to hit 1,000 subscribers this week, and we can do it with your help. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Want to give some love to Sherry Garcia, who said cash can for real say book 'em Dano. Let's go. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat. Guys, all this stuff that's coming out with the fraud, the waste, abuse, the Bidens, the Clintons, the Obamas, it is insane. But again, too, where's the focus at? It's got to be on Trump's leadership. Check this out.
From Kim Strassel, what stood out in Trump's first month? And it's a series of comments from their opinion staff on this. And again, these aren't big MAGA people at all over there. They've actually been very critical of a lot of the Trump agenda. And, you know, that's fine. Do your thing. You're certainly in a constitutional republic where you have freedom of the press and freedom of speech. You can have whatever opinion you want. I bring this up because for them to acknowledge the success of this first month, this is a bold new world of Republican presidencies where a standard's been set. Kim Strassel notes the president's public events tend towards the rambling. He's discursive, but that's how he is. But the press is mistaken to present his team as simply unruly. She says, consider this. A month in, the administration has a nearly full complement of confirmed cabinet heads. The border's under control. Criminals are being deported. The White House has issued nearly 80 executive orders targeting energy restrictions and bureaucracy, DEI, transgenderism, and censorship. It's dismantling Biden-era regulations and shutting down entire programs. The president's met with many foreign leaders and withdrawn from global entities. Congress is progressing on the president's tax reform. As I said before, there are two takeaways from this. You need to tattoo on your brain that are going to set the standard for Republican presidents going forward. Democrats may expect the same from a future Democratic president, but now I'm talking about the Republican side. The Republican side, they've generally kind of eased into the presidency a bit. There's always the 100-day agenda, but let's be candid. Even Kim Strassel's noting, there's never been anything like that. So it now sets a standard in the future that if you campaign on something, but come on, most people don't take a lot of campaign promises from politicians seriously. It's sad, but it's true. You are now going to be expected in the first few months and first 2 years of your presidency until the midterms to get this stuff done and get it done quickly because Donald Trump has set a different standard for action.
Yes.
But second, which I brought up before the break, another important point. They're inviting a lot of court challenges, which is important because the presidency has been redefined away from the Article 2 role of the founders, that they laid it out in the four corners of the document. It's not hard. We have an executive. We have an executive whose role is laid out by the Constitution, who's had pounds of flesh taken away from them. Their power's been neutered. Independent agencies, bureaucrats acting as if they're the executive. I ask you this very simple question. And I ask the courts too, if the chief executive of the United States and our commander-in-chief of the military cannot remove personnel under him for reasons he lays out and we've done now, you've seen with the DOGE, then who can?
Exactly.
Are you telling me that the government bureaucracy is immune from accountability elsewhere? Let me ask you this. I get it. Congress, you have Article 1, obviously Article 2, Article 3, you have the courts. Congressional staffers, for those who dispute this on the Democrat side, and you dispute it from the legislative branch, and you're saying as a congressman, the president can't do this. Can you fire staffers in your office? Well, of course I can. Well, if you can fire staffers in your office, then how is it that the Article 2 presidency, where everyone is a subordinate to the one nationally elected figure, the president of the United States, if he can't fire him, then who can? You're a separate branch of government. You don't work in the executive branch. None of it was meant to work this way. And, I had Ned Ryan on last week on my radio show. And Ned brought up an interesting point regarding TROs, temporary restraining orders that are, national injunctions. Are you telling me that one judge on the Supreme Court, the most powerful judges in the country, can't do what a local district court can and by himself stopping legal action? Folks, the government was never meant to work this way. There has to be accountability. Working American people live with this kind of accountability every day.
Every day.
The gold standard for action, folks, has been absolutely set. Folks, there's no excuses. People are policy. You've got to get people in there who read the Constitution and understand it. The Constitution cannot be a suggestion. It wasn't meant to be that way. And good people are going to have to step up in the next 2 and 4 years and make really complicated, hard decisions. We've seen it with Pete Hegseth over as Secretary of Defense, walked away from an incredible career in media. We've seen it with Sean Parnell. We've seen it with tons of others who stepped away from incredible jobs to go and serve. We have to step up. All of us are going to have to do something. We're going to reorient this government back to a constitutional republic, which we should. We're all going to have to do something. Kayleigh McEnany addressed on Fox last week, she addressed the appointment of now Director Kash Patel at the FBI. She had some commentary on some of the problems, some of the issues at the FBI. She views that we need answers on. I wanted you to hear this important segment. It played last week, but thankfully, Director Patel got through. I think he's the best man for the job. I deeply appreciate his faith in me. It means a lot. Check this out.
I love it.
And I want to pull them up. This, in a nutshell, is why this man matters and today's vote matters. Look at this. CNN special counsel John Durham concludes FBI never should have launched full Trump Russia probe. Isn't that nice? National Review. FBI spent a year preparing platforms to censor Biden stories, withheld info on Hunter's laptop authenticity. Fox News heavily redacted records show FBI's targeting of Catholics went beyond what it claimed. That they concluded the DOJ, Biden's DOJ, there was no malice there. However, the headline stands. Christianity Today, federal convictions of pro-lifers blocking clinics are rising. Emily, 4 of many headlines as to why this nomination matters.
Guys, do y'all see this? There has been such weaponization of government. It's honestly been sick. One of the reputable persons on X actually posted this, guys. I got to show you because the fraud, waste, and abuse is there. DOGE discovers Louisiana man with 34 different names, addresses, and social security numbers. He was collecting about almost $1.2 million a year in social security. And guys, this is just one person. It's so much out there. That's why Elon Musk came out and was like, hey, I think we could give somebody some increases. I want to say thank you so much, Michelle Lindsay, for the super chat. Let's go. Said it's about time the Democrats be held accountable. And thank you so much, Pamela Dunbar, for the super chat. Y'all show them some love in the chat. If you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much for all your support. Guys, let me tell you this. Going back to people are bringing up everything. Elon Musk is looking for ways to cut the fraud waste from Social Security and Medicare. Here's a big one that Biden signed, H.R. 7691, qualifying refugees from Ukraine to claim Social Security benefits. Guys, this started back in May 21st, 2022. These are real laws. You can go look them up. But this is what Elon Musk and Trump are talking about. How can we continue to go into debt trying to give other people in other countries benefits when our own people need those benefits themselves? And they were the same people that actually paid into the system. That's how crazy it is. And on top of that, guys, I'm telling you, today has been an insane storm of just news. Dan Bongino being the deputy director. We got stuff happening with the XL Keystone Pipeline that Trump wants. Macron from France, guys, listen to this.
But in context of a overall new rethinking of this and people putting their guns down with Russia, I've always felt that some sort of alignment with Russia is absolutely central to the takedown of the Chinese Communist Party. If we have allowed what we've allowed for the last 5 years since Biden got in, Biden drove the Chinese Communist Party, Beijing, the mullahs in Tehran and Persia, Russia, the KGB, and Erdogan. They made that movie about me called The Brink, I think in 2018 or 2018, where they went around the world when I was in Western Europe trying to begin this populist movement that you're seeing coming to fruition today, including meeting with the Alternative for Deutschland people at the time. And, Alternative for Deutschland at the time, I think was at 3% or 4%. When I met with Giorgia Meloni, she was at 3%. She headed up a small party called the Sons of Italy. The only person that gotten real traction was Nigel Farage, who we had worked with shoulder to shoulder on Brexit back in 2015 and 2016. In fact, Raheem Kassam, our beloved Raheem Kassam, had actually left Breitbart London for a while and went and ran the campaigns for Nigel. My point is that these have been a long time in coming to fruition. There is a possibility that you could set the world on a path from the beginning stages of the kinetic part of the Third World War. You could set it on a path to actually peace and prosperity. That's what President Trump's trying to do. That's why it takes a leader of his caliber and strength. And we don't agree on everything, but I absolutely understand and 1,000,000% agree with what he's trying to do directionally. And it's a little bit breathtaking because you're hitting on so many different strategic nodes. To wit, they've just announced that on March 4th, the 25% tariffs in Mexico kick in. And I've been given interviews in Canada nonstop on Canadian TV, and I keep telling people he's not trolling you. He talks about the 51st state, and I said you should take it as an honor. People in the United States don't, sit there and go, "Hey, we'd love to have these folks here as a state." That hasn't happened since Alaska in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. What, 70 years ago, 60 years ago. So, and it's going to get their attention geoeconomically when they see the premium they have to pay to get into this market. And put on top of that, the geostrategic necessity of what's going to happen in the Arctic. Is that now is a great power struggle and what we call the new great game or the great game of the 21st century that is kind of replicates what happened between the Russian Empire and the British Empire in Afghanistan and Persia in the 19th century around India. So President Trump is thinking in 5 different directions and negotiating the entire time. However, you've always got to be careful. And I know we've got Senator Rubio, I think, is doing a great job. Bessent's doing a great job. You got Mike Waltz over there. You got Steve Witkoff, the kind of head of the negotiation, Vice President Vance. You got a pretty good team on top of this. In fact, a damn good team. I think the cabinet, and I could argue this, I think the cabinet he has is the best cabinet a president's had of people that are action-oriented and can get things done since Lincoln's war cabinet. But you see Macron, this is a shifty guy. You got to watch him. Got to watch these guys. This is why I'm so upset about this Bardella guy at Front National. I think Front National is teed up to take over the French government under Le Pen, but the Bardella is just a weak sister. The guy wet himself about my wave to the audience the other day. I had to send these guys today how I did the exact same wave in front of Front National when they invited me over there in 2018, 7 years ago, to give them a pep talk. Almost the exact same pep talk, a different kind of version of it, of how they were not alone and how they were fighting the good fight, and they were only at, 14 or 15% at the time. You notice there's a trend here. I will get in back of people when you're at 3%. I don't care, because I see the possibility that Giorgia Meloni can, lead the government, or a guy like Salvini can win, or a person like Trump can win. You haven't talked about the CPAC straw poll. President Trump's history in the CPAC, because they missed the McLaughlin made a misstatement the other day when he did this. President Trump has been on the CPAC poll 2 times before he's president, twice. The first time was in 2015, and I was there kind of both times. In 2015, when President Trump, the first time he was on a CPAC straw poll, finished 8th at 3.5%. In fact, he was going to fire Sam Nunberg, the guy who was working with him at the time, for not doing as good a job. Although the 3.5% was pretty strong, given President Trump as a CPAC was much different than this today. It was kind of conservative ink. In 2016, and by the way, that's 100 days before President Trump came down the escalator to announce his presidency. Finished 3.5%. In 16, essentially 100 days or 120 days, let's say, at the outside, before he won the Republican nomination. And I remember this because this is during the time when I was running Breitbart, and we had quite a disturbance at Breitbart. In fact, this is when Ben Shapiro, and I admire Ben on a lot of things, one of the smartest guys around. We differ a lot on populism versus conservatism. He referred to, in the instant that he either quit or I fired him, we still haven't decided which. I have one version, he has another, but he referred to Breitbart. I turned it into Trump Pravda. In that, I think it was late February, early March, in 16, President Trump finished a distant third to Ted Cruz at 40%. I think Senator Marco Rubio was at 15 or 20%. Excuse me, 25%, I think. 25% was second. President Trump was at 15%. Just 100 days before he won the primary. He sees the world differently. He sees the world as in realigning can lead to peace and prosperity. There were no wars on his watch. Nobody wanted to cross him. The one time we did the launch of the cruise missile into Syria, he remembers, I was the one that was with him that didn't want to do it, and eventually he was kind of talked into it, I believe, by the National Security Council, by Mattis and these guys, to do the same thing Clinton did, shoot a couple of cruise missiles in. And then the next day they're doing the same thing. This is what they like to do, kind of tick for tat. Makes them...
Guys, let me tell you this. The whole world is changing right now. Putin is moving. Like, guys, I'm telling you what. Look, check out this breaking news. President Putin says Russia is ready to supply 2 million tons of aluminum to the U.S. market, which would stabilize prices. Like, they're literally kowtowing to Trump to get on his good side. They don't want any problems. I want to say, guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you for your support. Lay Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, Joel, have you heard about those of us that are disabled? Will we get an increase? Thank you for keeping us informed. Everything that I'm reading, guys, about what Elon Musk has said about the Social Security increase would be for everybody. And again, too, guys, they're focused on Social Security right now. Look at this. From the Department of Government Efficiency, the Social Security Administration completed the same software audit initial findings. Guess what? 4 redundant survey tools ranging from 118 to 1.8 million a year, paying for 10,000 UiPath licenses, only using 5,000, paying for 20,600 Tableau licenses, only using 11,500. Guys, if they cut out the unused Tableau licenses, that's literally $1 million a month, 12 million a year. And you're saying, well, 12 million, hey, this stuff adds up. And not only that, they are constantly going after every single piece that they can get to, checking everything. But I really wanted to show you this, guys, because this is some of the most breaking news that I've seen today. Already got 1 million from Insurrection Barbie. Really big breaking news person on X. Said James Comer tells Breitbart that the DOJ, FBI, IRS, and SEC were all investigating Joe and Hunter Biden, but they were told to stand down. Jim Biden was being investigated by Medicare for fraud. Why do you think Jim Biden got a pardon? 6 banks reported to the Treasury Department the Bidens were committing financial crimes, but everyone was told to stand down. And not only that, guys, this also broke too. From Wall Street Mav, tax filings exposed that Biden's cancer charity spent millions on salaries but nothing on research. Guys, we've been getting screwed over for a long time. And if it wasn't for Trump or Elon Musk, we wouldn't know any of this. And it's so bad what's going on right now with people trying to leak information, because all that Trump and Elon have done is said, guess what, guys? Why don't you tell us what you did last week? Guys, listen to this.
Ultimatum. Elon Musk emailing over 2 million federal workers with this subject line: what did you do last week? It simply asks them to list 5 things they accomplished at work and says not replying by midnight tonight would be taken as a resignation. However, Fox News can confirm that the Office of Personnel Management has told agency heads that they don't need to fire people who don't reply to the 5 things emails, and that the administration will work with the individual departments. And while that all gets sorted out, President Trump is gladly backing up the Doge mail by posting SpongeBob memes and doubling down at the White House.
I thought it was great because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group.
Musk is also brushing off the backlash, saying this email is a very basic pulse check. But of course, there is outrage. Democratic Senator Tina Smith calling Musk a bad boss and using some salty words to say it. And others in the press were equally outraged.
Elon Musk has zero legal authority to fire government employees or force their resignations. These people don't report to Elon Musk.
This nonsensical email from Elon Musk acting like we're in kindergarten.
It's like an own the libs, make you cry more sort of environment, right? Where both Trump and Musk are performing for the MAGA base.
The new Trump administration is reveling in its bare knuckle approach to governing. This is so sloppy with the way Elon Musk is handling this.
So earlier today, Greg, the Harvard Harris poll came out and said 76% of Americans support what DOGE is trying to do, asking people to show their work. The American Federation of Government Employees, that's the union, said that the email was cruel and disrespectful. What's it?
Wow.
First of all, Jen Psaki, Michael Steele, you're not outraged that your coworkers just got doged. I mean, you just lost Joy Reid, Jonathan Capehart, Katie Fang. Who else did they?
Alexis Wagner.
Alexis Wagner. They all went over, but that's okay.
Really?
That's okay because in the media you never talk about that, do you? The thing is, this was obviously the email was just a test to see if you still exist. You know, this is what you do for the George Costanzas, you know, the people that maintain a position but not a presence. So it's a bureaucratic bird call. And I've had to clean house a couple of times when I was an editor, and you always start with the outside in, and you have to do things in a big way. And when you listen to these criticisms, it sounds exactly like what they said about the border. When we were in crisis at the border, there was nothing you could do about it. Oh, you can do the little things, but you can't do the big thing, seal the border, because it's too mean. It's too heartless. It's too insensitive. It doesn't show any empathy. And if you cast a wide net, whether it's DOGE or the border, you're always going to get the wrong people. But that's the argument whenever you're dealing with excess. Whenever you need to cut and you know the company's in trouble, they will always try to stop it by using that argument that it's inhumane. But the only approach to reforming a bloated system is cutting it quick and cutting it fast. And if you make mistakes and it's messy, at least you can rectify it. It's not like releasing violent felons into the general population who then kill people, or letting your troops die in a chaotic withdrawal from a foreign country. Bureaucracy is actually an area where you don't need a scalpel. In fact, a scalpel cannot keep up with the growth of bureaucracy. You need a chainsaw, you need an axe, especially when it's this dire and the people in the media and the politicians aren't telling you how bad it really is.
And it was Milei, the president of Argentina, who gave Elon Musk that chainsaw. What he did when he first came in, their government was a lot bigger than ours even, and it was a little crazy. He just axed, I think, all of a sudden, in one fell swoop, 18 departments were out the door. A lot of people in the private sector, Jesse, might be have empathy for people losing their jobs, but might be rolling their eyes at the suggestion that it would be cruel and disrespectful to ask for. Just a little update on what you did last week.
I updated everybody on what I did last week.
Oh, okay.
Here's my 5 bullet points. Had a pretty good week.
Yeah.
I worked on a federal holiday when everybody else stayed home.
Wow.
When
that counts as 2 then.
I made a brilliant and persuasive argument for DOGE dividend checks.
Not
Cha-ching! I annihilated Jessica. Audience loved it. Ratings soared. I hawked Fox merch.
You did.
Yeah.
Shamelessly, but effectively.
That'll buy you a year.
And it increased revenues here, $150,000. I also hiked home on Friday to save the company money on car services. I actually didn't do that. But this is what he's doing is no different than what generals do, CEOs. Ben Franklin, what did he say? What have you done to make yourself better today? What did you do to make your organization better today? So when I see a request like this, I'm inspired. Other people felt like it was demeaning. And if you think an email like this is demeaning, you're part of the problem.
Yep.
Because if you don't think you have to justify your job and you think you're entitled to your job, then that's why we need an attitude adjustment. This is what this was. This is an attitude adjustment. People need to be reminded that they're public servants. They serve the public. They're not there to serve themselves from the public piggy bank. Now, the fact that they're circling the wagons around these bureaucrats, it's infantilizing them. Like, you can't fire them. You can't email them. You can't make them come to work. This is like when
Guys, I'm going to show you a video in a moment. It's literally going to make you cringe how you cannot do anything to these federal employees because they're so freaking entitled in their mind that they think that they have a job and there's nobody that's going to fire them or tell them what to do because they're a government employee. And just want to say thank you so much to everybody for supporting the channel. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, I really appreciate your support so much.
Tony gives his dumb cousin a job at the dock that he doesn't have to show up for. He gets 6 figures, no paid job, but you can't talk to Tony, you can't email Tony, you can't ask, no one can say anything to Tony. He's privileged. And now bureaucrats have more special protections than the trans community did at its heyday.
Curry favor with Elon and the rest of the DOGE department. Of course, they're going to say, see me, because they want a little bit of FaceTime. I don't think this is the worst thing in the world. And I'm sure there will be other instances where lines will be crossed. The sky will feel like it's falling. This is not the time to ring the alarm and say that we just went from orange to red. We're not quite there yet because, in the great words of Socrates, as written by Plato, the unexamined life is not worth living. And I would argue that there are a lot of government employees who've not been forced to examine their work because they do have a sense of entitlement. So if you have to sit there and figure out 5 things you did last week, 2 things can happen. 1, you're completely worthless and you shouldn't be on the government teat.
Dang.
And you should be relieved of duty because you're wasting taxpayer money. Or you're going to come up with a list that is so impressive that people will take notice. And those are the kind of
Wow, I
people
like
that
that.
we have to have left running government because there are critical aspects that have to be staffed.
Jesse
and
Waters.
I'd much rather they be staffed by people who are competent, hardworking, and not a bunch of fuss budget pearl clutchers.
Fuss budget pearl clutchers.
Wow.
It might be the first time I ever said
That got real, guys. Let me tell you this. What you're about to see, guys, I'm telling you, is going to make you cringe. I've worked for the private sector. Now, thank God I'm able to work for myself with businesses that I run. But I'm telling you this, I could not fathom saying this to a previous job, to a previous boss that I had, what you're about to see. Well, say thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I'm happy Joy Reid is now canceled. America is making the biggest comeback in all history. And thanks to our fearless leader, DJT. I'm telling you, he sounds like a, DJ. It's a cool name. We're now being the America I remember. Dump the deep state and swamp. Love you, family. Let's go. Hey, y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, guys. I'm telling you. Just sit back, guys. This is very bad.
First, just tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce and privatize public sector services to ensure that corporations like his own can get more profit. And that makes me really angry, and my coworkers as well.
First,
did y'all hear that, guys? This is how it makes me so mad, because I think all these entitled federal think that they own these elitists with all their thoughts. Can you believe how infuriated you have to be to think that somebody's going to ask me what I did this past week? How dare they ask me what I did at my job that I work for the federal government, what I did? Guys, is this not ridiculous? Elon Musk said those who ignored President Trump's executive order to return to work have now received over a month's warning. Starting this week, those who still fail to return to the office will be placed on administrative leave. Kick their butts out. You don't want to come and work. You don't want to come serve the people. You don't want to come and do your dang jobs, or at least send a simple email. This is everything that I did. I knocked this out, this out, this out. Easy. Why? Because I do this every week. It's easy for me to say what I did, unless you're not doing anything. And now, guys, they're pulling in Congress. Democrats are pulling in Congress. Elon Musk and Trump are pulling in Congress. Let's listen to the House Judiciary Chairman, what he has to say about this.
this attitude brought into any place in the private sector. And by the way, these people are not getting paid minimum salary. We're talking about the average federal worker's annual salary and benefits is $144,000. And they're...
Are you kidding me, guys? This is why I bring this stuff. This is why, and I'm getting heated right now, because I think of all the people on Social Security. I think of all the people that bust their butt at a secular job. These federal workers, average pay per year with benefits is $144,000, and they think they have the right to not answer a simple email on what you did last week. $144,000, everybody. That's why Elon Musk and them want to do this, because they want to go and fire all these lazy people that ain't doing a dang thing for the American people, and they're right to do so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Objecting to being asked just 5 little things that they may have done last week? Are you kidding me?
How dare the President of the United States tell people to come back and work in person and tell us what you do? I mean, that's all this is. And yet, oh my goodness, you would think this is something that you can never do. How dare they ask that? This is how out of touch, I think you had someone on order, this is how out of touch this town is with the common sense of regular Americans across this great country. And when I talk with folks, they're fired up about, they like what President Trump and Elon Musk are doing. They like the fact that there's a focus on, you work for the taxpayer. And if you're not working for the taxpayer, if you're not showing up to work, if you think you can work remote and not tell us what you do all week, that's not going to fly any longer. God bless these guys for doing what they're doing.
You know, and again, in the private sector, I was just talking to Martha McCallum about it. In the private sector, you ask somebody what they're doing, a boss comes by, asks, an employee would love to tell you all that he's doing. He loves to be a little, not just for bragging rights, but to get a pat on the back, to be appreciated. In the bureaucracy, it's not about what you do, it's how you can avoid doing anything at all. I mean, that is the nature. I understand, I'm gonna get letters from all these federal employees saying what we do is so important. I understand there are people who really do work their heart, but there are a lot of people who don't. And if they can't name 5 damn things that they do for us, from little things from last week, I don't think they should be here. Do you?
You can name 5 things you've done today. I mean, I met with a member of the European Parliament today. I met with our personal staff. What's going on in our district? I met with our committee staff. We got 4 hearings this week. I mean, you can just got done with a meeting with the chairman, Republican chairman in the House of Representatives. You can go through. There's all these kind of things that you're involved in. If you can't name what you're doing, maybe it's because you're not doing much and not really serving the taxpayers like you're supposed to.
Well, whether they like it or not, Elon Musk and DOGE are saving taxpayers billions of dollars already, and they're going to continue to do so. We're going to talk about the court battles to stop them from doing that in a moment. But there are certain people, you know, there's this idea that if he gets the $2 trillion in savings, we should cut a $5,000 check to every taxpayer in the United States, which seems, at first I was kind of wobbling about maybe it should go to pay down to debt, but no. Americans deserve to get payback right now. That's what they need. They want $5,000. But here's what, and I'm sure you've seen this clip.
It's their money.
I want to just play a clip.
It's their money.
Congresswoman Crockett came out with one of the most outrageous things I've ever seen. I'm going to play that and get your reaction. Roll it.
We are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession.
First of all, it ain't your money, Congresswoman. Exactly. It's our money, and we should be able to decide how it goes to good use. And frankly, it'd be a lot of good use in people's pockets. Secondly, it just shows, like you said, how out of touch they were. $5,000 is a lot of dollars to the average American. Maybe not to somebody who's making her salary and benefits and perhaps trading stocks on the side. But for the average American, it's a lot of money. Go ahead.
No, I think you're exactly right. The money belongs to the people, the families of this great country. It's their money. It's not the government's money. That's the biggest difference between conservatives and the left is the left thinks government has all the control. The bureaucrats should run everything, not the elected people, and we control the money. It's our money. No. It belongs to the families and the taxpayers of this great country. And if we can give it back to them, I'm for doing both. If we achieve this savings that we're setting out to...
And you know what, guys? I hate to interrupt, but I just had this thought that really just hit me hard. I think any savings should be paid back. All savings, guys. Not just a portion. All savings should be paid back to the taxpayer. You know why? It was the dang politicians that decided to put us in $36 trillion in debt. We didn't choose that. They did. So whenever they are not spending our hard-earned tax money, they should save it. They should 100% pull back and limit government, make it small enough where there's savings in reducing the government size. But if they find any fraud, waste, and abuse, that needs to come directly back to the taxpayer. And if you don't mind, guys, I appreciate every time y'all, those that haven't hit the thumbs up like button. If you do, guys, remember, this really helps with my channel. Y'all are my sponsors. We don't have sponsors on this channel. So whenever you click the thumbs up like button, it means the world to us, guys. And we bust our butt to try to give you the best channel ever. Check this out.
Dude, $2 trillion, as Elon has talked about, as a target. Give some of it back to the people. It's their money. And then we do have this deficit problem we run every year and this huge debt that's piling up. Let's use some of it for that. But certainly give some money back to the American people. After all, it's their money.
Now, Congressman, all of these lawsuits, I tell you, they look for all the world to me like the lawfare that we saw in months and years past against Donald Trump and other efforts by the American people to get what they want, to get what they voted for. Is that the way it looks like to you? Because it looks like lawfare to me and a lot of other people.
No, this is the left. I mean, I say the left and the Democrats, instead of helping us stop the stupid spending that's going on that Elon Musk has shown, they go after the guy who's exposing the stupid spending. I think we should work on just stopping the stupid spending. So no, they want it to continue.
Common sense.
Most of the left, lives off of big government, whether it's some organization getting a grant from them or whether it's just the bureaucracy itself. So they're going to oppose this. I say applaud the guy who's exposing the stupid spending. They say, the left says, no, we're going to attack the guy exposing all the crazy things their monies are going to. That's the problem. But we have to stand strong and help make sure this happens. What he's identified, we have to make sure that no longer happens as we move forward in the appropriations process.
One of the arguments, and we hear it echoed in the media echo chamber by a lot of media elites, is that Elon Musk has not been, first of all, he doesn't have to be confirmed, but he's an outsider, and outsiders shouldn't be allowed to do the work that he's doing, gain access to the files, to the money trails, et cetera.
What'd you do last?
The last president was essentially run by senior advisors who were never confirmed and never voted on. Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, it's terribly hypocritical to suggest that, but I don't think that's going to hold any water with the Supreme Court. Do you?
No, I mean, look, this is, again, as a fundamental difference. President Trump put his name on a ballot when he ran for the position of President of the United States to head the executive branch. Article 2, Section 1, first sentence, power in the executive branch is vested in a president. He put his name on the ballot. He got elected. During the campaign, he said he was going to create this DOGE department. Elon Musk was going to run it. It was clear what was going to happen. And we, the people, 77 million of us, said we want that model. It's consistent with Article 2 of our Constitution. And now that he's implementing it, the people on the left who think Dr. Fauci and all the unelected people are smarter than the rest of us, that they should have the power, which is not according to the Constitution, they're all mad. That's the fundamental fight. I'm actually with the guy, we the people, put in charge, not with the bureaucrats who think they're smarter than David Asman and Jim Jordan and all your viewers. That is BS. So that is the fundamental fight, and we have got to win this if we're going to protect freedom and liberty moving forward.
Right on. I agree with you on that. Let me quickly talk about the Senate bill that they're coming on their own with, and frankly, that you guys in the House are doing what the president wants. One big beautiful bill. Putting that together, which includes the tax extensions. And again, if they are not extended before the December 31st of this year, we will have one of the biggest tax increases in history, which means you guys will lose control of the House, the senators will lose control of the Senate, and the president will be a lame duck for his last 2 years. So you don't want that to happen. Senator Johnson came out with an idea, because their bill, the Senate bill, is all about spending. It's not about tax decreases. It's not about keeping taxes low. It's about spending more money. Here's what Senator Johnson said about what the Senate should be doing. Listen.
I'd be happy to just extend the current tax code to make sure we take a massive automatic tax increase off the table, and then start working on what is far more complex, no tax on tips, those types of things. That's just a far more complex package put together.
So why doesn't the Senate at least do that? Just extend the current tax code that way, and maybe later on you can put in what the president wants to add in, the no tax for tips, all the other things. But just make sure that the deadline doesn't pass and we get this huge tax increase.
No, look, I'm for one bill, two bills, three bills, whatever. I'm for what Senator Johnson, a smart guy, good friend, and I think an outstanding senator. If that concept and that plan works, I'm for that too. I'm just for getting, doing what we told the voters we were going to do, doing what they elected us to do.
Yes.
What I do know is what the budget resolution that's coming out of the House Budget Committee and slated to be voted on tomorrow, it cuts taxes, it cuts spending, it helps national defense, and it secures the border. Sounds like we're being Republicans. It sounds like we're doing exactly what we said.
Well, why doesn't the Senate
So
get it, Congressman?
Well, because they don't know that if we can get the votes for that, and frankly, we're still working on that in the House. And so if we can get the votes for that, then you kind of got to break it up. Senator Johnson's plan, I think, would be just fine too. But what we got to do is what we told the voters we were going to do. That's what President Trump's doing.
Right.
That's what Elon Musk is doing.
Right.
Let's make sure the House and the Senate do the same.
Very quickly, I'm way over time here, but could the blue state Republicans, the ones who want to see the cap lifted on the state and local taxes, the SALT tax deductions, they want to see a big change in the tax system, would they be satisfied with just extending the tax cuts and then waiting for another bill eventually in year 2 or 3?
Yeah, and I think you've cut to the chase. It's a real question because I think in some ways they view it as leverage to get what they need for their constituents, some relief on the SALT issue. So again, that's why we focused on one bill where you can put all those different, competing in some cases positions together and come up with a bill that's consistent with what we told the voters we're going to do and good for the country.
Jim Jordan, you're the best. Thank you very much for being.
What's going to be good for the country is Elon Musk and them getting out those DOGE checks. And then right here, Elon Musk issues update on Social Security increasingly optimistic. You get $5,000 to taxpayers, and then you give the people on Social Security a $200 increase. I mean, guys, this is that would literally give us a red wave in the midterms. But I want to show you this again, guys, because this was posted by a reputable person. How much fraud is out there? DOGE discovers Louisiana man with 34 different names, addresses, and Social Security numbers. He was collecting $1,168,646 in Social Security per year. This is the kind of fraud, waste, and abuse that they're trying to clean out. But at the same time, too, they're having to fight the dang Democrats over this. Like, that is what is so insane to me, that why cannot the Democrats say, you know what? Let's cut that out. That's not good. We should maybe not have that. But no, we're constantly seeing them do what? They're fighting the Republicans at every step of the way. But you know what? The time bomb is about to explode. Listen to this.
What'd you do last week? If you work for the federal government and you can't answer that by midnight, you might be getting doged.
Boom.
This weekend, every DC bureaucrat got this message in their inbox. Please reply to this email with 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week with a deadline. And if you don't answer, that's kind of your answer.
I thought it was great because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
Ooh.
I can tell you what I did last week. Worked on a federal holiday, plugged Dana's new book, pushed DOGE dividend checks, you're welcome, shut down Jessica on the 5, politely, and sold some Fox merch. Cha-ching. Now, I came up with that in 5 minutes. If I had 48 hours like those federal workers do, it would have been even better. But when I was putting together the list, I was inspired. And now I've asked the entire primetime team to send me their 5 bullet points on what they accomplished last week. And the deadline's at 6 a.m. tomorrow. And we're going to send you and show you what their bullet points are tomorrow. And I'll let you know if I fired anybody. Nobody on my team was angry when I sent the email. But for some reason, federal workers are.
Tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce.
Putting together a list of accomplishments was maybe the most work some of these bureaucrats did all year. If it's that hard for you to name...
Guys, I'm sorry, but I am so ready to see some of these people be fired. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much for your support.
5 things you've accomplished in a week, that should tell you something. And if it makes you mad or infuriated that you're being asked, that should also tell you something. Tells me a lot of these federal workers don't want to justify their jobs because they feel they're entitled. And that's a bad attitude. And that attitude's about to change. And was it just me, or did that worker sound like she was reading from a script? I think I saw her eyes moving back and forth.
I didn't catch that.
Has this woman never had a review? If the answer is no, then that's a huge problem. People are getting laid off. Tell me why you should stay. If the CEO of Bank of America asks me, Jesse, what did you accomplish last week? I don't run to CNN and cry and tell the anchor I'm mad. If I've been doing a good job, I'm psyched for the opportunity to present my boss with a list of my amazing accomplishments so I can get a raise and a promotion and keep helping the company. You either have a winning attitude or the attitude of a loser. The winner loves the email. The loser is whiny.
This nonsensical email from Elon Musk acting like we're in kindergarten.
The new Trump administration is reveling in its bare-knuckle approach to governing.
This is so sloppy with the way Elon Musk is handling this.
Why is the media treating these workers like the CEO's spoiled brat son? You know, who comes and goes as he pleases, drinks at lunch, and harasses the secretaries? He's untouchable. We all know the guy. The media is treating the federal workforce like they're untouchable. Oh, you can't make them come to the office. You can't fire them. You definitely can't log into their computers, and you can't email them on a weekend. These are public servants. They're supposed to serve the public. When we ask, how are you serving us? That's an issue. Maybe it's because they're not serving us. They're serving themselves.
Ooh.
Journalist Chris Rufo just uncovered a deep state sex chat at the National Security Agency. Chat logs show intel officials were using a chat room to share their fetishes and kinks and brag about getting sex changes. And it goes back 2 years. A transgender sex chat. While they were on the clock. When you think about it, this was a taxpayer-funded transgender sex chat. Here's a taste. Viewer warning. This one gone.
Sorry,
and he can
guys.
wear bikinis
I
after his sex change surgeries.
Can't get in trouble.
And these are intel officials. These people are in charge of guarding the nation's deepest secrets and spying on our enemies. How mentally tough are these people if they're having doctors chop off their body parts and then celebrating it on a work computer? Do you know how easy it is to blackmail somebody like that? Do you know how China or Russia or the Iranians, what they would do if they got their hands on this? First, they'd laugh, but then they'd compromise every single one of these reckless agents. Elon asked, what did you accomplish at work last week? I sexted with my colleagues about pouring hot wax on my nipples. This is what happens when 96% of the federal workforce works from home. They're having sex change surgeries while they're working from home, and their bosses don't even know about it. I bet we paid for those sex change surgeries. And then they're all in the group chat all day. Hey, how was your operation? Mine was great. Still a little sore, but now I can live my own truth.
If you don't report to work, you know, that's another scam. You know, who the hell, if I'm staying home, I'm going to, let's see, my golf handicap would get down to Very low number. You'd be shocked if I told you the real number. But I would be so good, I'd try and get on tour. I would be so good. I'd call up, I'd say, listen, I'm really working here. Where are my clubs? Where are my clubs?
The Senate's even being put to work. Majority Leader Thune is making senators work late into the night. And ready? They're working on Fridays now. Yeah.
Let's go.
And no surprise, senators are already complaining. They want to go home. Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, also a pilot, says he used to rent a plane and fly himself home every Friday. Alas, he's barely flown on that plane this year. He says, unless I want to do it on the weekend, and that's if I get back on the weekend. We're $36 trillion in debt because of guys like that. And they're complaining they have to work on a Friday. Not even a summer Friday, a Friday in February. USAID's been emptied out. 2,000 workers were just fired. Should have taken the buyout while you had the chance. It does make sense, though. They didn't want to leave because the gravy train was just too thick and tasty. For Haiti alone, USAID doled out $2 billion in contracts. Guess how much of that money actually went to Haiti? 2%. Only 2% of the $2 billion went to where it was supposed to. Half of it went to all of these aid groups based around D.C.
Wow.
You can't give it to Haiti directly. They'd just steal the money. So we're going to give it to all of our liberal friends who won't steal the money, and then they'll give it to Haiti. But they didn't. Are liberals just stealing from poor black people and calling it compassion?
Wow.
A New York Post report says the Red Cross raised $500 million for Haiti. And that money was supposed to build homes for 130,000 people. They built 6. $500 million to build 6 homes in Haiti, where home is not really Mar-a-Lago. And here's a juicy one for you. Meet Latricia Adams. She was an advisor to the Biden White House. How she got that job, I have no idea. The Free Beacon reports that while she was working as a White House advisor, our friend Latricia applied for a contract. And not just any contract, a $20 million contract. This $20 million contract was for environmental justice. And right before Biden leaves office, he gives this $20 million contract to Latricia. Her group, Young, Gifted, and Green, got the $20 million. More like Young, Grifted, and Green.
Ooh.
Does Latricia have any background in environmental science? No, not really. 10 years ago, Latricia was a high school Spanish teacher. She has a bachelor's in Spanish. She's based in Memphis, Tennessee, not the greenest city. And you know what Biden does? Biden audits Pete Hegseth. This lady, Latricia, screaming for an audit. We used to prosecute graft at the Department of Justice. I guess we don't anymore. Latricia can just walk out of the White House with $20 million. What did Latricia do with the $20 million? Well, we went to their website. The only thing they did last year was the Black Maternal and Environmental Health Day. They started a holiday.
Wow.
It's April 4th. These people look really legit. This is exactly why Trump wants to go visit Fort Knox.
We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold.
Finding waste, fraud, and abuse isn't even that hard. You can save money with a stroke of a pen.
ODNI itself is a pretty small organization compared to most other elements. But even in that small organization, getting rid of DEI saved American taxpayers roughly $20 million, literally with the stroke of President Trump's pen.
Not even Nancy Pelosi's DOGE-proof. According to reports, Trump's looking to sell off the 18-story Nancy Pelosi federal building in San Francisco.
Let's go.
The building's empty because HHS told its employees not to work there anymore because it's too dangerous. Pelosi's building surrounded by homeless needles and prostitutes. It's about time America had a house cleaning.
The fraudsters, liars, cheaters, globalists, and deep state bureaucrats are being sent packing. The illegal alien criminals are being sent home. We're draining the swamp and we're restoring government by the people, for the people.
For the people, guys. I love it. I've got something to show you guys that is So mind-blowing. It's sickening. Elon Musk reposted this. Literally just said, wow. Want to say thank you so much, Alex Fox, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, how do we order new shirts and how will that work? So next week, guys, I'm building out a Shopify store. Next week, we're going to start the pre-orders, guys, and I'll show you all the details next week over the TrueLife new shirts. And I got to say, guys, they look awesome. Thank you so much, Alex Fox, and thank you so much, Sherry Garcia, who said, I identify as a retiring Dem from Congress for SSI. You'll probably get a raise. Y'all show Sherry and Alex some love in the chat. So right here, guys, USAID's Haiti scandal is staggering. The U.S. sent $4.4 billion after the 2010 earthquake, yet less than 2% reached Haitians, while 56% lined the pockets of D.C. firms. The Red Cross claimed to shelter 130,000 people, but built just 6 homes. This is so much corruption, guys. Actually, and this is why we're like on this channel, we're not going to give to the Red Cross. We've got other charities that we're going to give to, which we're going to be announcing in a couple of days. But just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we appreciate your support so much. And also, don't forget, there's a link in the description. We got a brand new channel, guys, that we're putting a lot of short form content out on there, doing a lot of different videos of other stuff that, guys, because when I build an hour show, you know, I'm pulling from everything, but there's some other stuff that happens that just doesn't get fit in the show. So I really want to show you that and bring more value, more content. So if you don't mind subscribing to that channel, the link is in the description. And remember, guys, we have a goal this week. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers. We're so close on that channel, guys. And just want to give some love to our members of the channel, guys. You are the best. And so much love to those that give a super chat donation. Sherry Garcia, Michelle Lindsay, Pamela Dunbar, Lay Lewis, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Alex Fox. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat, as well as Jackie Pastor for upgrading her membership on TrueLife. We couldn't do this without you guys. We're here to serve you. And guys, I'm going to show on the next video, I got an email from the charity, The New Beginnings, that I want to show you guys, because these people, they don't expect it from a YouTube channel to be donating to these charities, and I love it, guys. We're making our name known out there. TrueLife News is a giving channel. We love you guys, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.